What up, gamers? It is Will777JP back at it again, and this time I'm gonna make a quick video. Well, I say quick all the time, but my videos are long and shit. So let's keep it real. It's probably gonna be a long and shit video, but honestly, I'm gonna try to do this fast because I don't have all the time in the world. But I did want to make a video real quick, just talking about some news topics that came up this week so far in gaming that I find very interesting, and I'm hoping you guys will too. Now, a lot of you guys don't really like these videos, but I like making them, and I think you should also be informed. So either way, thank you so much for clicking on the video, for hitting the like button, even if you don't like it. I appreciate the support, but more importantly, thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed to my channel, man. We are moving. We are at 306 subscribers. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, man. It really does help out. I appreciate it so much, and it means a lot. So thank you. Let's get started to this. So this is I'm actually going to be reading 4 articles from not Push Square, from PlayStation Lifestyle, which is another gaming journalist. And this one is actually a very interesting topic to me, which is PS Store shovelware problem explained in new report, right? So for those of you guys, and by the way, I haven't read none of these articles. I'd rather do it live with you guys so you can get my full-blown reaction. But for those of you guys that don't know, on the PlayStation Store, if you go there, there's a whole bunch of shovelware games, man. Games that are like $2, $3, $5 that are just like shitty fucking games, and there's just so many of them, and people have been complaining for a long time that, hey, why is there so many? Now, this is just my opinion. I'm hoping that this video or this article will explain, but my opinion is real simple, guys. Sony gets a 30% cut. Simple. So if they are selling a shovelware game for $1, Sony earned 30 cents for doing nothing. You know what I mean? Nothing. Except putting up the space for these games to be sold. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit. As long as, the game isn't breaking any laws or doing what they're not supposed to be doing, Sony does not give a fuck, man. They just don't care. They control the space. It's free freaking money. Who fucking cares, right? But let's go ahead and see what they say. PS Store shovelware problem explained in new report, February 4th, 2025. So written yesterday by Michael Ruiz. Shovelware plaguing the PlayStation Store is a tale as old as time. Whether it's a game developer with an easy platinum in mind. Oh, that's another thing too. Maybe because a lot of people actually buy these games, right? Because it's easy platinums, especially for the guys that brag about platinums. And I'm not saying they're cheating and buying these cheap games to get a platinum in 20 minutes, but that's also another possibility. With an easy platinum in mind, or just general garbage titles that don't benefit anyone. These types of games have been available essentially since digital storefronts became more prominent on home consoles. However, it seems the problem is getting worse, with a new report shedding some light on why hundreds of these games are flooding the PS Store. Another thing too, you'll notice too a whole bunch of copycats, man. Like I remember when Ragnarok came out. When was it? I think 2023 or 2022. When Ragnarok came out, there were games where you look like Kratos, using Kratos weapons, but in like an arena combat type of deal where you're fighting these ugly ass monsters, and that sold on Xbox for like $1. And that dude made he made thousands and thousands of dollars off that fucking game. But you'll see a lot of copycats like that, and we see copycats even with big budget games like Horizon, right? Horizon, we saw that Tencent Chinese developer who who did that survival game that looked just like Horizon. Still ain't out yet, but copycats are everywhere. So if an IP is successful, bro, best believe people will make shovelware with the game. How is PS Store shovelware able to pass certification? As reported by Rebecca Valentine at IGN, literally hundreds of games considered shovelware or slop are not only populating the PS Store, but also being advertised on specific sections of the digital storefront. That is true. Specifically for PlayStation, the games to wish list section is most wrought with these types of games. That is also true. So how is it that these games are able to find a place on the store pages? That is true. And I think the biggest disservice that does for me, as an example, for me, um, and I say for me because I buy a lot of games, right? You guys watch my collection videos, you guys buy my video game pickups, and that's just how I get my games 90% of the time. But there is still a good amount of games that I buy that are only available digitally. For example, I just purchased what's that game called? I'll be right back. Here's the game, Big Helmet Heroes. So I just bought that yesterday. It's a digital only game that interested me. So, you know, another game that I just bought recently is Tales of Iron 2. Another game that I can only get digital. So the reason that this bothers me is because when I'm going to the games to wish list section, you see a lot of this crap, which I'm willing, because I know that it's crap, I'm willing to scroll through it for a little bit, but not enough to really get through a lot of the shit, because I just end up getting tired, after like the 10th game that I'm looking through and it's shovelware. I'm like, I'm past it. What this does is it fucks up the opportunity for games that I haven't heard. Like for example, what's the name? Damn, Big Helmet Heroes right here. Where a game like that looks interesting to me, I would completely miss, and I don't know that it's coming. Cause let's be real, y'all, we are not gonna see marketing or gameplay or trailers on the majority of video games. The majority, yes, thousands and thousands of games come out every single year. We only see a small fraction of them. So imagine people like you and me who are the hardcore, who are basically in the know as far as gaming goes, and we're constantly on YouTube, constantly reading stuff, constantly on social media, learning about the gaming industry and what's coming out. If somebody like us still only sees a small fraction of games coming, imagine the general population, right? So it's a big disservice to that. It seems a mixture of the certification process for a specific platform, in this case PlayStation, and developers tricking the system. In an even more general sense than described in the article, a developer will pitch to Sony who they are and what they want to release on the storefront. If approved, this will give them access to development backend portals and dev kits. Then, a form is filled out describing the game. PlayStation will then begin a certification process where it checks if the build fits platform requirements, both technically and to make sure no laws are being broken. Oh, look at that. Isn't that what I said? If it passes, it could be released on the storefront. According to the report, this process is fairly similar to all platform holders. One primary way they differ, however, is how they vet applications. Microsoft vets on a game-by-game basis, while Sony vets on a developer or publisher basis. This means once the developer or publisher has been approved once, the process of getting a game into the PS Store is much easier, possibly leading the developer to pump out loads of games into the storefront within a small time frame. In turn, this could result in shovelware flooding sales, new releases, and recommendation pages. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense, right? So what they're saying here basically is that everybody has similar process, but one thing that makes PlayStation different to like Xbox, for example, what Xbox, the way they do it, which makes way more freaking sense, is that they go on a game by game basis before they approve it to be allowed on the store. So it doesn't matter if you're Ubisoft, you still have to get each individual game approved, right? Which I can also see how it may have some negative effects, because if you are Ubisoft, as an example, it's like, well, dude, you guys are one of the premier, developers, publishers in the world. You are well renowned for your games. People know, so you're just slowing down that process, right? That's just more resources you have to stick into making sure that the game gets put up on the store. So I get that. And the way PlayStation is doing is, what they're basically is, they're just saying, hey, we approved you once. That's it. So Ubisoft, you're approved. All your games can come in, right? Which makes it way easier for them to cut back on the resources required to keep sending games to get approved to be on the storefront. But the loophole here is that a freaking one of these shovelware developers can, go through the process of getting their first game approved. Once it's approved, Well, they put the effort to get it approved, and they get it approved. Now they release the floodgates and they put out all the bullshit in there. So very interesting. Where did I read off? In return, this could result in shovelware flooding sales, no releases, recommendation pages. On all consoles, you get the opportunity to get featured, but you're also on these automatic lists, said a developer. If people are just pumping crap into the system, you get pushed down the list. Any list. The systems are being overwhelmed and you're going to get pushed out of there. I've been working on my game for 6 years. Someone else has been working on their game for 6 months and make dozens copies of it. It's just crushing. It is currently unclear if Sony plans to take action on this shovelware issue. In the past, it was reported that the PS Store Easy Platinum games like Press X for trophies were banned. Wait, let me read that again. In the past, it was reported that the PS Store's Easy Platinum games like Press X for trophies were banned. Okay, so while action isn't being taken right now, there is a possibility Sony may do so in the future. Okay, so super freaking interesting. And yeah, I agree with this developer. You've been working on your game for 6 years. You're trying to make the best game you can possibly make, and then you have some other fucking asshole who made one game in 6 months, who is then making copies of that one game by changing a couple levels, changing the main character, changing maybe even enemy types, but it's essentially the same fucking game just with a different paintbrush, and then they release it 10 more times. Right? And look, as much as people don't want to believe this, but video game, like I said, thousands of games release every year. It is very, very competitive, right? So these developers need a leg up as much as they possibly can, right? So for people that say, oh, you're lucky that this game came to your console. No, the fuck, I'm not lucky. They're fucking lucky their game came to the fucking console. You know what I mean? You have fucking over 150 million, just for easy math, PS4s, PS5s out there in the fucking wild. That's a big fucking base. You know what I mean? And even if you only sell to 1% of those, that is still millions of copies. So super interesting, man. I was going to go ahead and read the other articles, but I'll just break those down in different videos. Keep it gaming.